We'll make a video just explaining in depth all my thinking behind it, I suppose. Let's put it that way. There's a lot I've taken into account now the last year or so, and I have thought a lot about it. It's been basically the most discussed topic with my friends and family, I suppose, in terms of should it or shouldn't be done. And that's obviously talking about the local town election next year, when really this year coming to be done. There's less than 2 months left of this year. It's probably going to be sometime in the middle of the summertime, basically, a bit after March or April. We don't exactly know yet when the the European elections, of course. But I've considered it to run for the Cavan October municipality. I've considered it. We have all the paperwork if we want to go. But I think, and to be totally honest, I explained a lot. There's a lot to it, not just being There's a lot, basically a lot. But the long story is, I considered not to run this year, but I do think the next one, not after, well, not obviously not the one coming up, but the one after that. I think we could do that. To be totally honest, whatever that be another several years or so. So we're talking probably 2020, probably 20 would be. No, it would be it'd be 2031 or something like 2030 or something like that, the next local town election. So I think maybe that might be in a better position to do it. In terms of many things too, I explain a lot. It'd be better to probably explain in the video, but there's a lot I suppose I took into account. Like it's been I've talked about this and I've been talking behind the scenes for the last amounts of months and last year, and it's been talked about a lot. What we could do if we did it, what could we do, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so I consider I think it'd be impossible for me to win this, and I do think there is going to be another candidate running for the National Party or something like that. So I obviously don't want to stand. I want to then split the vote, I suppose. Let's call it that way. So it's probably better if I stand down along with that. So, but yeah, I talk more about it in the video. It's hard to explain it all again live without putting it in structure. Like I have it in structure in my head, but it's about getting pen to paper to try and explain my thoughts and stuff like that. It's it's not easy, to try and explain, especially because there's a lot. I don't know if people realize, but there was a lot of thinking behind in every different situation and stuff like that. What could occur, and things like that. Like we basically brainstormed a huge amount. So yeah, it was basically a lot. So but yeah, so that's my intention. So, and we kind of left it for a long time. We left it alone, and I know a lot of people would have done it midsummer and stuff like that, but we were kind of very undecided, I suppose, up until today. And up until probably yesterday, where we talked about it yesterday, was the final decision we made. And I think it's best for the county, not just for myself, but I think it's best for the county for the moment to see what will happen, I suppose, in the next few years. And particularly, as I say, there's somebody else who probably will. We don't want to split the vote, and that's the problem. Too, along with that. If that makes any sense. But yeah, and many different things that we could talk about. But when the video comes out explaining it, it'll be a long video. It'll be about 20 minutes or 30 minutes long. When I make it, I suppose. Like there's a lot to it. So I try and explain the best I can. If anybody has any questions, I try and explain some of my logic and stuff behind it. Because there's a lot of thought put into it now. I will admit that. See if we can get some relaxed music. I don't know. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday so far. I don't. People are probably very confused what I'm talking about. I think people just came in here and were like, "What the fuck is he on about?" I know the main question has been asked probably the last year and a bit, I suppose you could say, these ads. It was about the local, as you know, the local authority election is next year. Uh, well, not next year, but technically this year coming in a few months' time, about less than 7 months or so. You would say 8 months at most. Midsummer next year. But this year coming obviously because it's only nearly it's the middle of November now. What am I on about? I'm talking about the local authority election. So I know a lot of people ask me about it. So I can. We kind of talked about it for a long, long time, and there was a lot of discussion outside of fuck this yuck. There was a lot of discussion outside of YouTube and stuff like that, and with my friends and family and stuff. So we considered that it's not a good option for me to run for the Cavan Beltober Municipal Authority. So, I'm afraid to bust your bubble, but I think we should wait until the next one in 2031 or 2030. On many, many different reasons. It's literally been we talked about it, like outside of YouTube and stuff like that. It's been the most talked about thing probably I ever talked with friends and family and stuff. It's been a huge discussion, I suppose, behind the scenes about it. So, and literally, we only kind of came to the decision yesterday. So, no, I will not be contesting the local authority election. I can make a whole video talking about I have 110 reasons why, particularly because there's going to be another nationalist candidate, as far as we can gather, that they are going to run another nationalist candidate in the Cavan Beltober area. And we don't want to split the vote. That's one of the reasons why they will probably put, so the National Party I think is going to put a candidate in this area basically. And basically if I go and split the vote, let's put it. So we made so you asked before to get them along with many other people about the local authority election, so we have decided not to contest the next local authority election, but in about 2031 or so, whenever the next local authority election will be, which will probably be sometime that time, 2031 or 2029 or something like that. On many, many different reasons, I could write a book on it literally. We probably talked about it for hundreds and hundreds of hours behind the scenes, behind YouTube and stuff, talking to different people about it and stuff like that. I have to say, literally particularly the last few months, we talked about it very in depth. Literally, nearly every evening it was been talked about and stuff like that. I was, for a long time during the summer, I suppose this year, I was kind of 50-50 about it, to be totally honest. I was 50-50. We only kind of made a decision yesterday on what we're going to do. It was always kind of 50-50 this year. So that's why I never would say yes and I never would say no when people ask me. I kind of didn't know myself. So it was kind of a big discussion. Let's put that. And yesterday we said we have to kind of decide before Christmas or so. So that's what we came to. There's many different reasons, because as I say, one of the reasons is we think there's going to be somebody else one in the area, so we don't want to split the vote, of course, and they are more likely to be elected than me. I don't think we won any of them, but not this year though. I make a whole video talking about it, explaining it. It's a lot. Oh, I know, but particularly when you put kind of the same kind of ideology, people most likely vote number one for. You kind of will split it, I suppose. If that makes sense. We're not really vote splitting, but you know what I'm saying. Because mainly the one thing that counts is you get your number one votes and stuff. That's mainly what counts. The rest of us count transfers and all that. We don't want to kind of split it, and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons. I can really write about. The other reason is too. We kind of looked at the whole situation, and we kind of. I talked about it many times. We don't really have a hope particularly with Sinn Féin. Like they've gained too much ground in County Cavan, particularly in the municipal authorities and stuff. They're probably going to have about 6 or 7 councils, the majority of the council seats basically. So it's going to be huge. Like the Sinn Féin majority in the next local authority election is going to be huge in Cavan. So we wouldn't really be able to contest it. Basically, that's what I would. Within a county mile, let's put it that way. Like it's literally going to be huge. It's going to be a huge landslide. That you don't know. It's the same in Cavan too, but different things like that. But see, the other thing too, you have to understand. Another reason why we talked about it, that the whole political establishment of Cavan, if I did get elected, particularly as a council, there would be uproar. Like the local media would literally have a fit if I got elected, because they don't actually know how serious I am about different things. They don't actually. They can't like a lot of councils and things that sit on the moment in the councils and stuff. They don't know am I serious about annexing Leitrim. Basically, they don't know am I joking or am I actually serious. And if I get elected, that's one of the things I'm going to propose. Like they don't actually know. They don't know how. I could. They don't know what I would do basically, because I really haven't. I have it all planned out basically, all the stuff I could do. But I have never said it, basically. I'm always waiting to play my ace card, when I get in. So that's why they'd be very terrified if I got in the morning about what I would just say and stuff like that. Because I would go balls to the wall if I did. Excuse my language, but, it would be literally a nightmare for the media in Cavan. They would have a literally nightmare. Literally be like Donald Trump every day of the week to be on about me. Like, so basically we would get a lot of uproar, basically. Let's go that way. Like we talked all about that too. Like we don't think it would work very well. Let's put that way, in terms of, because I wouldn't hold back basically if I got elected. I wouldn't hold back on different things. So the stream, yeah, but that's not really about boosting the stream and stuff like that. Like we talked about too. Like again, we talked for months and months and months about this behind the scenes. Like I do have around, like I would, there's no base in the Cavan Plateau, particularly Buttersbridge Plateau, but in a good bit of Cavan Town and stuff like that, I'd be well known. And the one thing they wouldn't know my name, some people, but they would know of me. They've heard stories about me and stuff like that. Particularly, I have a good reputation as a hard worker and stuff like that. So, like, people have been talked about it, let's put it that way. So, as a hard worker and stuff like that. So, there's no way they said I would probably get, well, a lot of people say I would probably get a good few votes, but it's not really all about the stream. Like it's just it's a lot to explain now, but it would be a nightmare probably for the media in Cavan if I got in, particularly because they don't know really what what exactly my policies would be. I'm not going to. It's basically going to be a mystery until I get in the door. So that's going to frighten them a bit. But here's the thing: you can't just run for the Dáil elections without getting your foot in the local authority elections. Anybody would tell you that you have to really start off locally in your council districts and stuff like that, instead of going to Dáil and stuff like that, because you need to kind of get a good bit of support in Monaghan and stuff. And I don't think people in Monaghan would be too fond of me. But I know it might be disappointing for some people, but it's not really, like, you have to understand, it's not really was to do with any money or into that. We could, the money's there, basically. We could have done it. There's money literally there to do it. There's loads of money there if we wanted to do it. We could have done it. It would have covered the vast majority of the expenses and stuff, but we consider it a very bad time at the moment. To run, especially because again the one thing, the biggest thing I suppose is the big Sinn Féin majority, which is inevitable going to happen. Like it's not a hope that any independent candidate would do very well in the next election here. But obviously, it's hard to know base, but it does look like a big Sinn Féin majority. Because Sinn Féin's literally getting everybody and their mother to run in the next election. So it's quite big now. Going to be a big majority. No, I don't think it changed my mind now because I've said it all through the summer. We were thinking about it, and we kind of had to make a decision yesterday, with the application and stuff like that, to send it in and stuff like that. Um, that's what I'm saying because we met yesterday. I have people helping me out behind the scenes and stuff like that, and we had to basically the decision was we left it into basically basically today, but it was last night that we had a plan in the way. In fact, the decision would be made today if we're going to send in the application, get all ready, and get it set off and stuff like that for the lecture committee. Um, and we can see it's basically the final decision has been made. I suppose we're not really going to go back into this. I suppose. Because it would have been too late if we say for example I left it to after Christmas, we would have had to plan loads of stuff in our hats and we would have been just overwhelmed at that stage. So we had to kind of make up our mind today or tomorrow, like yesterday or today, basically, because we couldn't have left it because we kind of dilly dallied about for a long time during the summer, like being 50-50 and kind of measuring, what did we take? How big you Sinn Féin majority did we think could happen? And we think it could be 70% majority for Sinn Féin. So, and and particularly, just be big Sinn Féin. That's what we think. That's what we can see on the ground and stuff. That it's going to be big now. We don't know how big, but it's going to be huge, because particularly Fianna Fáil and County Cavan is not going too well at the moment. But and particularly in the Cavan, this area, I suppose municipality, a Fine Gael councillor was signed, which Fine Gael councillor is retiring, and she would have always got in, and she always would get a good few votes, and she's retiring, so them votes would have been used for the candidates basically, because she was there. Well, she was always guaranteed to get in, so we had a chance this year too, her retiring, but we considered that they'd be all probably going to either Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael, so it kind of be shooting yourself in the foot basically. Like there's a lot to it. It's literally a lot to it. We talked about it so much. Like I nearly can write a book on it. We don't end the discussions we talked about. Like the other thing I might as well say now, because we maybe might be relevant in a few years' time. Like we were planning to go, I suppose, straight away like Green Party 2.0, but we were planning not to do any election like posters and stuff like that. I've talked about it many times before during election time. Like literally every poll in the country is covered with election posters. We were planning not to do that. So it would have probably been the first of its kind again, but not plastered the polls in the country with election posters. Because as I say, it would have been far too, like I see it every day, every election time. Like they end up in fucking ditches and they end up on the side of the road and stuff. So basically, it would have been a big, instead of wasting that we wouldn't have done the top basically. So it would have been kind of a green kind of thing at the same time. We wouldn't have kind of done leaflets and stuff. We would have just been on the ground basically, and that's the best thing. Just being there in post and talking to people instead of going around with your flyers and stuff and talking to people. That's what we would have done instead of the way that other parties go on like that. Yeah, I've seen something like that online. Yeah, civil minded, yeah, but that's what we're planning to do. Like, it would have been something very big if we did do that, because every other council has always done it for years and years, always had posters up, and I've seen, I can't tell you how many times in the last election particularly, the posters that went to the job and stuff like that, like it was a lot, and stuff like that, so it would have been pointless to do that. So we would have kind of been revolutionary in that kind of sense, in terms of doing that. And we kind of would have stuck it to the Green Party and we'd like, look at you are wasting so many, so much resources on doing posters and stuff like that. And we would have kind of stuck it to them, the Green Party. But, again, the Green Party wouldn't be too pleased. And we did, I talk about it all day nearly at this stage. Party, yeah. Like, that's another thing too. Like, there was many options. Like it was talked about for so long, about many options. Like we had different parties that I could go to, I could join and stuff like But the thing is, and I always said it, and I wasn't going to go back on what I said, that I want to have my own opinions. Like parties will make you vote for stuff, even though you don't agree with it and stuff, even though the electorate doesn't agree with it. Um, and I wouldn't be a fan of that. So basically, I wouldn't take orders from a leader of a party. If I get something, and if the people against it, and the people who want me to vote against it, I'm going to vote against it regardless of what they do. So basically, I wouldn't be playing nicey with party leaders and stuff like that. If I thought it was bad for the country, or for the local area or something like that, I would say no. I'd probably be suspended for it. So that's why we never really consider, even though many people had offers and say we could do this, we could go here. Particularly into there was a good bit of talk with some of the NT members, but it was not really too serious. But it was kind of discussion about it. But it wasn't really anything that would go anywhere, you know. Like we never was. It was kind of just talk, basically. It wasn't really anything like an offer or something like that. And the same with other parties too. We just kind of talked about it. We didn't kind of make an alliance or anything like that with it. Which I thought was the best. We kind of just chatted about it and stuff, which would have been better than alliance and stuff like that. But I do think independence is the best way to go, just being independent. And having your own opinions and stuff. And being able to listen to people. But again, you'll be on your own basis. You could have your own opinions and stuff. So that's what we consider. But the local authority election. I know you were asking about it a lot too, Shawnee. But unfortunately, we decided not to go this year. Coming up. So it's a lot of reasons. I make a whole video talking about all the reasons and stuff like that. Like we brainstormed at something fierce, I have to say. Like I honestly do think it was the biggest discussions I ever had in my life and talking about this. Like we spent probably hundreds of hours literally talking about every scenario, what we could do, what could happen if I was elected and stuff like that. Like we brainstormed 150 billion things. Like we talked about different situations that could arise and stuff like that if I was elected and how we could deal with it and things like and particularly like to do with this year, like it's a lot of stuff I could go through. But if anybody has anything in particular, I could try and narrow it down. Like it's a lot to process and trying to explain reasons and stuff behind different things. But the one thing I have to say, it wasn't finances or anything that we had the money. The money was there. It basically would cover everything. Let's put it that way. So it wasn't financing or anything that. Like that wasn't an issue at all. We had the money. The money was there. I always put it aside. The money was always left aside for, like basically I had the money myself to run, so we wouldn't have to look for donations or anything like that. So it was nothing to do with that, just to say to people. The money was always there. So it's literally there for the next election too. It should cover nearly 90% of it if I wanted to go. Believe in nothing. It's just a job for them, yeah. But see, that's the other thing people we talked about. Like a lot of the people, particularly my friends and me, and they were saying you should just go for it anyway, even though you're not, I suppose the way they put in my heart wasn't really in it. I suppose with just many different things, like it's a lot to explain, but with many different issues and stuff like that, and particularly because to be totally honest, I don't really see how, particularly as a councillor, you don't really have too much power and too much influence. You obviously have your voice, you're elected by the people and stuff like that. But in terms of a council and stuff, you basically have collective power as councillors. You have collective power. You don't really have individual power. Yeah, obviously, with the government passing a few years ago the Local Authority Act, councillors have less power than they did before. So basically, you can't really do much. Basically, you can't really do much. You can do some things. You can obviously have opinion and stuff like that, but in modern Ireland now, I don't know, what I could do. Well, I could achieve small things, of course. Small things across the country. I've always done that, but you couldn't really do much for the national issue. That's what I'm saying. Like it would have been it's hard to explain. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing? The money's wasting my bed. No, but we had money. I always left money aside for the day I would won. So basically, there's always money left aside. Like it was always put away, basically over the years and stuff like that. There was always money put aside. Like it was always thought. Like you have to understand there was a lot of thought put into it the last few years. It just kind of like for a long time I was talking about it and stuff. So basically, it's always been there, basically. So it's always been in my head that you have to plan. We have to think into the future about it, basically. So that's always been the way for probably the last nearly 6 years or 7 years. This is how long probably it's been in the since the last local tower election. It's always there in my head. So someday I would go, basically. So it's not just kind of making the last minute, like it just came up with it today or something like that. You know. Well, a lot of people, my friends were kind of 50-50, and like the people we had a kind of committee, I suppose, we could call it that. But a lot of them were worried, particularly, a lot of my friends particularly were worried that I could walk myself into the ground very quickly. What I mean by that, I would end up dropping dead in a few months' time of a heart attack or something like that by overwalking, because as I say, I have a very, like, particularly when I put my minds up and I fucking go out of the 109%. Like, I would walk day and night, basically. Like, I would overwalk myself, basically. I'd basically probably end up dead because of it, so. Um, it's. That's what a lot of my friends are worried about, particularly because it would be the strain and just the almighty pressure and stuff. Particularly because if I couldn't do something for somebody, and this is the thing I always said about it, and I've said about it before, even with people coming to me now with different things, even though the vast majority thinks I can achieve it, like even if it's a pothole in the wall, a road, or something that you can achieve, you can get it fixed and stuff like that. But there is some other issues, that as a council you don't have much influence on. Like often people come to me about HSC appointments and stuff like it. And obviously you can have a say, basically you can put in your complaint and different things. But at the end of the day, as a council, it's basically up to the HSC. The HSC can basically listen to you and then they can ignore you, basically. It's the same with any government department. You just kind of will be ignored in some cases. Um, so, it's a lot. Uh, but it's not really that's not the right time. Like, we take into account too uh, the whole conflicts in the Middle East and in Ukraine and stuff like that. Uh, and particularly because I'm firmly for neutrality and stuff like that, that we would have a very bad time too in regard to that, particularly in the local media. We would probably be slandered by every name under the sun because of our conflicts and not getting involved. Um, there would probably be civil war over that nearly in this country over it. Because that would have been one of my main things, like we shouldn't be getting involved to the extent we're getting in at the moment. We should be scaling it back a lot. And it's just, and another thing too was just the media frenzy that probably would happen if it looked like I would get elected, because again they don't know really what I would do, and that was the frightening thing, I suppose, for the establishment. Yeah, I seen about yeah, Sean Mack will be giving out. Oh, you're going, Anna. Take care. Thanks for pondering in. Thanks for coming in. Sorry. Yeah, but I know some people be disappointed with this, but and generally too, to be totally honest, like even one or two of my friends said it. I'm kind of happy where I am at the moment, to be totally honest. I'm happy where I am with my job and stuff like that. I'm happy in doing where I am at the moment. Like a lot of them did say, if they had the opportunity of getting nearly €80,000 a year just to be a councillor and sit in the council seat and do, you can do something. But at the end of the day, you could just sit there and do nothing, and basically they care, plus expenses and stuff like that. They said they would go for it, a lot of them. But I wouldn't be like that. It's not the money. I couldn't care less if I only got 10 cents a day being the council and stuff like that. It never was about the money or anything. But I never would have cared less about it. But obviously I wouldn't have took expenses. I've said it many times before, I never would have took expenses if I got elected. Never would have. I don't agree with that at all. I think expenses is. Um, job. Ooh. But yeah. Yeah, to put your name forward, it does take courage and stuff. Especially in the modern age, it is a lot. Particularly, as I say, particularly with the Middle East and stuff happening at the moment in the world. People are very wired up about it and upset about it. Um, um, so, you know, it's those well, and it was a lot of thought put into it. Like I did think about it a lot, and I'm kind of one of them people. I have to just admit it. I know a lot of people would probably know, but I'm kind of very shy at the same time. I can get talking to people and stuff, but I'm very shy at the same time, deep down, and I'm a very nervous kind of person. Uh, like deep down, I try and not to be. I try and be, as tough as I can. But at the end of the day, it would be a huge amount of strain for a person like that, and it would take a lot out of you, basically. So, and particularly going back to what my friend said, they didn't know if I got elected, for example. How long would I live for? I suppose that's what I'm saying. Uh, would I die of a stroke? Would I die of a heart attack? Would I have a breakdown, basically, like with different issues and stuff? In terms of different things and stuff. Like you have to be tough, and like truthfully inside, I don't know. Do I have what it is? I suppose this was another this thing I talked about particularly. I don't know. Do I have the guts to basically do it? Like I'm doing things here, but it's a different level when you're actually a counsellor and you have serious things that happened and stuff like that, and you have to try and walk around it and stuff. And particularly another thing we talk about, like we talked hundreds and hundreds now. I literally wish I recorded it all. Like it was discussion after discussion, but every possible thing that could happen. Like we talked about tsunamis and stuff like that at one stage. I know that sounds insane, but we talked about tsunamis hitting Cavan and stuff like that at one stage. Like I know I'm laughing at it now, but we talked about natural disasters. It was something that natural could happen. Um, like a hurricane could come and hit some part of Cavan. Like we talked about these things and what would we do? What would I do if something like that happened? You don't really know what you would do, to be totally honest. If something like that extreme happened, you know, you don't really know. That's the thing. I suppose many councils wouldn't know who elected at the moment. Like, and particularly modern day politics is not like years ago. You have social media to contend with and stuff. Um, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, like as I say too, I'm happy enough to where I am. I suppose like I'm not like other people, as one of my friends said, if they were in the position, I said in the second go, but if they had the option of getting 80k a year and just kind of sitting back for a year and doing nothing, they would take it, and the expenses, of course, and all that luxury and stuff. But I generally wouldn't be the person. I would have to do something, I would have to be active, do as much as I could. But, you know, I'm happy with the job I have, basically. And I suppose it goes into another thing. I would miss probably doing what I'm doing at the moment in terms of the cats. I know it's very dirty work and gritty work, but I enjoy it. I really, really do enjoy it. And I don't know, like it is like a lot of councils and people would just look down and say, why in the name of fuck would you rather go out in the roads and clean up when you could try and run for a council seat at 80k a year, nearly 100,000 a year? A lot of people, people probably be like, what the fuck are you thinking in your mind? Particularly in terms of that, but I'm happy where I am. I'm happy here. And I would miss it, I suppose, if I was elected and stuff like, because you wouldn't have the time to go around doing all the bins and stuff like that in the county and stuff like that. Like it's a lot of stuff. Quite a vote, but yeah, I know. Yeah, and the one thing we had to laugh about anyway, like one of my friends that was talking to about this, like I had a good few people was talking to behind the scenes about it. They were saying about the Sanam Win picture, why we put that on the wall and stuff. That was that an election ploy, and we all kind of had to laugh at about it, because if the media did say something, we could be like, look at, we're kind of like far left too at the same time. We're kind of lefty at the same time. We're kind of in the middle. We have a picture of Sanam Wayne on the wall, and she's kind of part of the left. We're kind of, in with the left to get a few extra votes from people for profit, Sinn Féin and stuff. So at least then, if the media kind of called us out, we could be like, how am I far right if I have a picture of San Win on my wall? That's what we could have pointed to too. And it probably would have got us a few more votes from people for profit and stuff, if we said, in the path with the going the path of Sana. We could play both sides at it. But that was a joke when they, like we talked about. But it would have been interesting to see what the media would have said. A young fella from Cavan is running with a picture of Santa Marina fall. But it would have been class. No. But yeah. So I don't know now. Like, this is the thing. Like, compared to other people, I will admit I'm just too shy of a person, and you know, as I say, some things you can't do as cats, particularly HSE appointments and stuff like that. They can listen to you, and as a cat, if you're elected and stuff like that, even to this day and stuff. But then they can ignore you basically as a cat. Like, it's happened many times with cats with us, and you're just basically powerless, to do anything, because at the end of the day, you can't force the HSE to maybe move on a patient if they're dying of cancer or something like that. And these situations arise, and I would feel terrible, basically, if I couldn't do something. Like, as a councillor too, you only have a certain amount of power, as I was saying earlier on. A TD would have more power and stuff to do that, but as a councillor, if somebody came to you individually just to look to do something about it, you simply couldn't do it. It's basically it's out of your hand, basically. And it's just kind of what ifs and what off. That's what could fuck you a bit, I suppose. But yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, does anybody else have any other questions about it? Like, I'd probably make a whole video talking about it, like the whole lot. Well, not the whole lot, but a good bit of it, what we talked about and stuff. Explain my reason. But again, I do think another person will take my place. It will be there in the local town elections. There's a young lad, and he's 30s, I think, that's going for the National Party, I think, in Cavan. I'm not too sure now, but it's all the information we have, it seems like it is. So, as I say, and then there is an independent in the Cavan Belturbet area, Brendan Fay, too. So, if either one of them get in, then I'm happy out. Thumbs on credibility. I know, like, a lot of them would say I'd be too honest with people in terms of different things, but the thing is, and this is the thing I've always said, you can't please everyone, and you can't. I know people say councillors and TDs have absolute human power, like the supermen and superwomen, right? And they can move earths and planets and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're kind of just human. And truly, I don't know. Could I do, like, as I say, somebody dying of cancer, and the HSE is kind of just saying, "Oh, we see you in 7 months. We talk to you in 7 months, and we see about your treatment." I don't know. And if they came to me and said, "Could you try and reason with the HSE to move the appointment on to a few weeks' time, because he won't be around in 7 months' time," I don't know. It would take chunks out of me if I couldn't do something about it. Like, I probably wouldn't get any sleep for the next 7 months nearly. So it would probably drag me down, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would be somebody that would take it to heart, I suppose. That's the main thing. But you have to kind of understand here too at the same time that I do take things to heart. I might pretend that I'm strong and stuff like that, but to be totally honest, I'm really quite weak in terms of them things. It does, like, for some people and things that it doesn't affect them, but it would affect me. That's to be truthful with you. But you know, but I only hope somebody else that's an independent or whatever other party will get in the next local election. And obviously, I would throw my support behind them if any of them do one. I would throw my support behind them. But for all information going, we do take to be somebody for the National Party. I know it's disappointing for some people, but yeah. Anyway, well, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like a lot of my friends said that too, but it's just that I don't know. We did other answer. Like I am happy where I am. I suppose the moment, like I don't want to be in the position too. Like we talked about this too. That if I got elected, take for example, in the morning, I could only last 6 months, and then just the extreme stress of it and just the extreme toll of it would, probably force me to resign early, and I don't want to have to plunge the municipal authority into another by-election or something like that. I don't want to cause that kind of hassle for the people of Cavan if I do resign halfway through my term and stuff like that. I don't want to do that to them too, the people of Cavan. I don't want them to have to go through that and to have to go through and vote for a different candidate and all the hassle that comes with it. And just even too, if I drop dead, I suppose, I know it's a funny way of saying, but if I did overwork myself into an early grave, I wouldn't want people to have to go and vote for another candidate and stuff, and then they'd be like, damn, this fucker, he had to die, didn't he? But yeah. Well, but like I cycle a bit, not much now. Not much now within the winter months. After you come home from work, it's nearly always dark, and you're kind of not bothered really to do too much. I'd be cycling the odd time, not much, but like I was out earlier on with the trailer and stuff, picking a bit of rubbish. Like it's just the small things like that too. I wouldn't be able to do it as a councillor. Like I know a councillor at the moment, just to say one of this, like they get, and then this goes into the other thing too, I suppose too. It's to do with writing and stuff like that. Like it would be a course, basically, with dyslexia to try and write a letter taking example to the HSE saying, look, this woman has a problem with her back, she needs an operation now. And just having to write that and try and be correct about it and the correct grammar and stuff like that, and having to try with, like, I do that to this day. You respond to emails, even messages on Twitter and stuff like that. Like it would be a nightmare probably to try and keep up with all that and to try and respond and go to meetings and stuff like that. Like it would be a nightmare trying to keep on top of all that. Like you have to kind of give up a good bit of your life too to be a counsellor too. You know. Like even though it's not as stressful probably as a TD now, I say TDs would be a lot more stressful. Particularly because you have a bigger area and stuff like that, but Anyway, so I say I'll probably put up a whole video about it soon anyway. Within the next day or two anyway. I will give my take on them. Yeah, if there's any other question about the election, feel free to. Yeah, like I would do my best, and that's to be totally like I couldn't promise I could move the moon and the Earth. Like I wouldn't do that because I know I couldn't go up to space and move the moon and the Earth. Right, like it would be you couldn't do that. It's simply inhuman to try and do that kind of thing. But I would do my best. Like if somebody came to me, I would do my absolute best for them. But again, it goes back to the point. Like there is some things, like even I speaking to councillors now, that you simply cannot do. There's some things that you can't help. You just have to pass it on, and hope that the other relevant authorities within the state can help out. Like even criminal matters and stuff like even as a council, you'd be part of the joint policing committee, for example, in Cavan and Mullen if you were elected as a councillor. So you basically would have a say in the policing of the county, for example, in County Cavan. But at the end of the day, you can't really do anything. You can make references to the Garda superintendents and stuff in Cavan about policing and stuff and the different areas that need to be policed more. But at the end of the day, it's up to the Gardaí and to the Department of Justice and the Garda headquarters to say, should we take this advice on or should we ignore it? And you could shout from the rooftops and still you'd be ignored. Like basically, what you need to understand too is the whole establishment, the state, the Irish state, is not friendly to people like me. It'd be different if I was people before Profit TD was like pro-abortion and stuff like that, and pro-immigration and stuff like that. When you're somebody like that, that goes against the state, and that's really what I would be, kind of a rebellion against. We're not to rebellion, like an open rebellion or something like that, but disagreeing with state policy that's been there for donkey's years, you're going to get a lot of pushback from NGOs and from people that have been there decades expecting the status quo. And then somebody comes along and wants to put an end to that and is very loudly about it and wouldn't shut up about it. You're going to have a lot of pushback from people within the state. No, not even only Joes, but people that are not accountable by anybody, NGOs and stuff. They're not accountable to anybody. And you would try and be bullied and controlled. And it's a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a lot of stuff you have to trying to walk around and trying to push through the whole bureaucratic shite of a state. Basically, I would call it, because the whole state is designed, and the whole election system is designed for people who have different opinions, particularly extreme opinions, like they want to change the way the state works for the better. You're going to have a very hard time, basically. They're going to try and shut you up, so other people that come after you will change their opinions very quickly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it would be torturous, basically. Politics is basically, it's just in this country now compared to years ago and stuff like that. It's just a fuck fest, and that's to be the most unpolitical language ever. it's just a fuck fest. It's just, you know, are you get in line, I suppose, in terms of what the political party, whatever the government's agenda is, or you're going to be fucked from NGOs, from the mainstream media and stuff like that. Especially when you go against, like, I wouldn't be pro mainstream media, pro OTE and stuff like that. So OTE be literally doing hit pieces on me every night of the day, every day of the week, if I got elected as a councillor, because it'd be like, this, there's actually a far right councillor elected in Cavan. There's actually somebody from the far right actually elected. Like, you think they're having a hissy fit at the moment, far right and this, that, Like, imagine if there was actually somebody elected as a councillor that they considered far right, they would actually go fucking ham every day of the week. Every primetime episode would be about this far right councillor in Cavan. That's what they'd be like. So it would be it would take a toll after a while, you know. Yeah, like, you know. But as I say, Sinn Féin is probably going to, like, even if it did run, Sinn Féin would probably destroy you. I know, but it would wear you down, and particularly with the electorate, like, a lot of people would watch RT and be like, actually this person's worse than 1930s Germany, and that would take a toll. Only members of the public just basically calling the worst person on earth. It would take a toll. You might laugh it off and stuff, but I would take it to heart, particularly if it was referred to as somebody that was from the 1930s and was doing something like somebody from the 1930s. You know, it'd basically be a witch hunt, basically. Yeah, if I got elected, because I wouldn't really hold back, but I would still say what I had to say. But in private and stuff like that, I wouldn't let it show in public. But in private, I would feel terrible, to be totally honest. I might as well be honest with you. And like, I'm explaining my weaknesses here. I know a lot of people wouldn't explain that. You would feel terrible if somebody said that to you. A lot of people in this side of the movement, about the far right, as you can call it, wouldn't dare explain it. But generally, I have to be honest. Like, I can't just be in fairyland and saying, "Oh, it'd be all dandy." I wouldn't care two shits and stuff like that. Like, there's people that wouldn't give two shits, and in fairness, they're right to. But I suppose the nature of you can't really change who a person is. You can't change the soul of a person, and no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you try, and change yourself over years, but you still have the same soul, and you still have the same identity and stuff within your soul. You simply can't change the fabric. You can polish the soul up, as well. You can do it up, but you can't change what's inside. And that's the thing that it's bothered me as well. You can't change the way you behave and stuff. Like, there's people, like, in fairness, there's TDs and stuff that don't care and stuff like that, and that's probably nearly the best way if you don't really care, because it doesn't bother them. You could go out and load a car up, and they still wouldn't care, because they could buy a new one with expenses or whatever. That makes sense. I don't know, probably the worst assumption ever, but you know, more power to them. So it's fair. You know. And just to like, it's not even a county thing. Like, say if a councillor says something now that the media or even only Joes in the public consider far right and stuff like that. Like, say if I say we shouldn't be taking in people that, which I would say if I got elected, I said we shouldn't be taking in people without checking them first to see who they are and where they come from and stuff like that. Even just saying that, the whole media would have a fit. And you probably would get a lot of pushback from within your local authority, first of all. But just the prayer, like, that would be all over the news, basically. So basically, be all over the national papers and everything that the council dare say this. It'd be a lot now to contend with. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, and particularly, this is the thing you have to understand. Like, it is, but it's not really the generation now that's the councils and TDs and stuff. But, well, technically is, particularly TDs, they've created a kind of, it is kind of a hostile environment now. For politicians and stuff like that. But we all know whose fault that is for it's the TDs and senators for what they did during COVID and stuff like that. We all know it, that they created this kind of hostile environment. And even for new TD, like say if I was a new council starting off, people were still kind of painted with the same brush, that you're part of the establishment. You're just a shill basically with the establishment. And people would say the same thing, that you're bought and sold by George Soros and the World Economic Forum. Even though I wouldn't fucking talk to one of them, even if I was paid to, I wouldn't fucking go near Klaus Schwab's if I got £1 billion. I simply would not go near him because he literally is the definition of evil. You look at him now, he's the definition of evil. And just even saying that, if you're a council, like I'm sure if there'll be a few phone calls from Dublin saying to shut your mouth very quickly, or you won't have a job, and the establishment trying to make up all sorts of things if you said something like that to try and discredit you and trying to just make you resign. Which I would say if I was against, I would say George Soros and Klaus Schwab's is the most evil people in the world, and they should not be doing what they're doing, and they should be in prison. Even just saying that, the media would literally have a meltdown in the country, and even just being like TikTok should not be allowed in this country, the media will literally have another meltdown because TikTok gives RT money and gives the media money in this country. So basically, be big meltdowns every day of the week. Because I simply wouldn't hold back. I would say what I have to say, even regardless of what people say. But it's in private what, I would take it all the heart. Not for that. So give me a second. Phone call from Dublin to tell me to shut up about George Soros. I'm only joking. I know, it was just somebody saying about it. Also, von der Leyen, yeah, exactly. Even just saying, we shouldn't be in the pockets of the European Union. There would be there'd be fucking absolutely just uproar. Regardless of what I say, if it doesn't go by the establishment, there would be civil war over it. Because basically, I would still say, what I'm saying now about different things, I'm going to say it, even when I'm a councillor. But it's just this extreme backlash you would get. It's something that I don't know what I'd be able to contend with. And that's to be truthful. Yeah, like with your boy Boward and stuff like that, there's the reason how he gets elected and stuff like that, there's people that are just brainwashed, that are coming out of college and stuff, they're just extreme left. And regardless of what you say to them, even if it hits them in the face, if there's there's a crack in the road, there's a pothole on the road and they fall into the pothole, they still be they blame climate change for it, even though it's just wear and tear on the road. They'd be like, climate change caused this pothole. And regardless of what you say to them, they would not listen to you. They'd be like, yeah, climate change, was a go out and protest. You simply couldn't talk to some people, basically. To even as a councillor, you could try and explain to them every day of the week, basically, why that pothole got there. And they'd still be like, it's climate change. That's the first thing they jump to. And they'd be like, oh, we have to stop fossil fuels. No more cows in the world. People have to go around with horses and cows. That's what they would say. And even just stating that fact that universities are making people extreme left, you still would get a lot of backlash from universities and stuff like that. So basically, regardless of what I do, because I wouldn't be able to shut my mouth, basically, if I got in. I would still say what I had to do, but basically the backlash would be so immense, I don't know what would happen. Yeah, I've seen it, yeah. I've seen that. Even just take for example that. Like at the moment, even councils and Cavan and TDs, they're getting huge amount of emails from people about the Palestine and Gaza, and saying to them they should be speaking more openly about it and stuff like that. And it's extreme amount of emails and stuff from people. Um, and it's particularly as a council too. You simply can't do anything. You're just a small council in a rural county. You cannot change the world. And that's the thing too. People can't understand. You do have the ability to change the world. You know, you can have the ability to change your own area to a certain extent. Obviously, you can't not change the whole county. You simply can't. But you can do small things that can make the county, better. You know, and particularly just because I've been neutral like in these things. I wouldn't take a side. I've said to the people, we shouldn't be getting involved, but obviously we should denounce when children and innocent civilians be killed and stuff in the country. We should be always saying there should be peace. They should be trying to get the olive branch to try and make peace in the world. Of course, that's what I'd be always for. But at the same time, I wouldn't be proactive involvement and stuff like that. But it's a lot to it, I suppose. But but generally, the one thing I always go back to, I just do take, to be totally honest, I'm just too weak to be totally honest to go for a public office. Uh, I'm just too weak, 2 weeks soul, I suppose you could say. Not really, I could say we're 2 week out too, but I suppose that's what would kill me, I suppose, down the line. Um, it's just not really anything else, it's just, it's hard to describe, but, you know, it's just that, I suppose. I'd probably go down for a cup of tea, so you mind if you take a 2 or 3 minute break and then be back again? And I could talk to you for another while about it. Like, I'll probably make a whole video, try and explain the best I can. Like, it's a lot. I could sit here for 6 or 7 hours. Uh, yeah, there's things you can't talk about too. Like, even if I wanted to talk about different things, that people are influencing Ireland and stuff like that, you simply would be just basically called a conspiracy theory and stuff like that. And and it's just the reputation too for people just, if you just call it a conspiracy theory too, like the only sheep, I suppose, the only Joe on the street would just take just a conspiracy theory, not even as a councillor and stuff like that, and they'd be like, it's no point paying attention to him. So you basically be just miscredited, and I suppose that would stick with you, especially people that are not awake to different things that's happening. They're living on the TV and watching the TV and stuff and watching the news box. Uh, they're not going to accept anything else but the news box, basically. That's what happened. So, yeah, I'll be back in a second. Instead of getting myself tea, I got myself a glass of milk. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, but you can't question these things. That's the thing. Like you'd be just literally shouted down from the heavens if you shouted. So if you said something like that, you know. I Oh dear. Fairly well, I'd say too. Yeah, but just going back now that we're talking about the Daily One, Shawnee, and things. Sorry, apologies about. I know Shawnee's probably long gone by now. Apologies about um, not talking about it at the time. I was too busy talking about other things. But yeah, so we're talking about Ashley Murphy's boyfriend. Yeah, his statement. Now, he was absolutely correct in what he said. He was absolutely correct on why somebody was here for 10 years and got a house handed to him and everything. He was totally correct to that. And if he basically what was he doing for 10 years on social welfare, just getting handouts from the state? Uh, he's totally correct to that. Now I know some people have been criticizing that and stuff online, but you have to understand his girlfriend literally has been killed by a person that stabbed her 13 or 12 times, so it was something like that. Um, like he's he's totally right in what he said. Basically, Ashley Murphy's boyfriend, and people shouldn't be, you know, denouncing him. I suppose let's put it that way. Yeah, he wasn't allowed in the first place. That's another thing too. And particularly because he did have a conviction in Slovakia where he used to be had a conviction. Funnily enough, the same thing where he obviously didn't kill somebody, but you know, he caused trouble in Slovakia too. He had 2 or 3 convictions there for harassing women and stuff. So you think they would have found that out before letting them in, and particularly just giving them a free house and stuff. Like, it was totally right saying that. But yeah. But you see in Finland at the moment, actually speaking about open borders and stuff like that, the Finnish government have closed a good few of the border crossings because of Middle East men going into Finland from Russia. So they closed a good bit of the border crossings. But there's things like that too, like even just talking to people that don't like who get everything handed them by the state. Now there's people that are on disabilities and stuff like that, and obviously if they can't walk, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be walking. Obviously, they should be on disabilities. But if somebody can walk, regardless of your Irish or where you're from, you should be out contributing to society, contributing to the economy, contributing to the local area. You should be out doing something basically with your life instead of looking for handouts for the Irish government. You shouldn't be doing that. But if you're sick and something like that, of course, that's why you're sick. Like if you have a disability and stuff like that, you get social support. Let's call that particularly, but disability allowance and stuff. That's all right and good. And even for people on job seekers, there's some people that don't know what job to get. They're looking around. That's understandable, but they shouldn't be on it for the rest of their life. They shouldn't be on it for 900 years, basically. That's what I way. A year at most, looking for a job and stuff like that. But yeah, people should be out walking, even part time if they're walking part. Even if they have a job just for part time, a few hours a week, that's totally fine. But basically, everybody should be contributing to society, and that's what I would say if I was a councillor. That everybody should contribute. Even everybody in Cavan should try and contribute something to society. That's what I would say. Regardless if you're from Ireland or where you're from Timbuktu, you have to work to earn a living. You can't be just handed a free house and just be like, here's a free house. If you're on the council waiting list, obviously, of course. But as I say, people who are on it the longest should get the house first. As simple as that. People who have been here for donkey's years. And the families date back to the history of the state before the Irish state even existed. Like O'Atleys and stuff, Irish people who get the houses first, as simple as that. People that just turn up out of the blue expecting houses and free handouts as if they shouldn't get it. And that's just putting it straight. They should be the last priority, basically. The Irish people should get it. People who are from the state should get it first. Simple as that. I know that sounds far right and stuff like that, but it's just the truth. People who paid their way in the state and stuff like that should get and pay their taxes and lived here all their life. They should. But see, that's what all. There would be probably, like, regardless of what you say, if you're elected the council, they probably just cause of workers. Particularly somebody like me, I'd probably just cause of workers. Like, they just want people, like, it's the same in Cavan at the moment. Like, there's a lot of councils just afraid of Santa Marine said herself, and I suppose it's kind of true for me at some point, in some stages too, and some things I talk about. You got to be careful at the same time what you say, because you could be on every front page in the country. But as Santa Marine says, politicians are just too afraid. They're afraid. So it's the same in Cavan at the moment. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to say anything at all in terms of being controversial or anything. They just stick with the status quo to keep the money going, to keep the thousands and thousands going in every week. Obviously, if they say something against it, obviously they'll be told, we're going to cut a bit off your money because you said something we didn't like, Like it's happening in Cavan all the time. You look at Curtill, if we take an example in Cavan. For the last 40, probably more than 40 weeks now, they've been out protesting about the requisitions that are there. And not one councillor or one TD cares basically to go and see and talk to people that just talk to people just to see what's happening. The AFK, the away from keyboard. That shouldn't be the case. But again, as I say, councillors, like I even know the councillors have said it to me, they have no authority basically. It's the Department of Integration, Walter Gorman, and basically the government in Dublin who has to say in it. The councillors can have their say saying it shouldn't be done and what you know. But at the end of the day, they can do very little. They can write letters, they can make objections, but at the end of the day, they have no willpower to say we can't allow this to happen. But they can obviously vote motions and stuff and recommend it to the minister and write letters and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're just kind of used for toilet paper. To be totally honest, like I can't tell you the amount of motions that were passed through the local authority. There were sent letters to M and Ryan, they sent letters to this person, they sent letters to this person, and basically fuck all was ever given back to them saying, we want information in terms of this. Basically, the department and government up in Dublin would just kind of stick it in the bin. They wouldn't even look at it. Let's put it that way. So that's what you're up against too when you talk about these things. Like even just saying people should have an opinion. If people just randomly been put in their town in the middle of the night in a refugee centre, a provision centre, right? Even just saying that, the whole establishment would go nuts. Because Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil said people don't have an entitlement to say what happens in the local area. It's up to the government to decide that, basically. That's what more or less the narrative is at the moment. Which shouldn't be the case, because people who live in the community have a right to say what happens in their community. They work in the community, they live in the community, they contribute to the community. They have every entitlement to say, what happens to the community, who lives in the community, etc., etc. They have a right to know who they are first for before letting them in. That's just my opinion on it. I know, again, the whole establishment would have a fit if I said something like that as a councillor. But again, there's a certain amount you can say as a councillor. You can't overdo it, basically. You can only say a certain amount. So, but it's just the fact too, like just for example, we can tell that, they're basically being ignored, people being ignored and stuff like that. And that's simply, regardless, and this is the thing too, even if it's somebody that, even though I'm against abortion and stuff like that, for example, like even if it was a pro-abortion rally and stuff like that, I would still go out and talk to them, even though I disagree immensely with it. I would still go out and say, look, this is my opinion. I would still listen to what they have to say. Because that's what you have to do if you're elected as a councillor. Regardless if you disagree with the people protesting, regardless if you agree, regardless if you don't really have an opinion on it, they're still elected. You're still elected by the people of that area to listen to the people who are protesting. Just even be there to listen to them and just even hear them out what they have to say. You can't just pick and choose this. You have to be fair with everybody. That's what you have to do. You have to be fair, and I think that's what I would try and do if I was elected. Like obviously, if there's somebody saying we should literally burn every house in the country or something like that, obviously you shouldn't really go to them protests because they're just anarchists. You can't just be going saying I'm going to go and talk to these people who want to burn every house in the country. For whatever reason, just say they did. There's 2 or 3 people got together and like we want to be arsonists and burn every house in the country. You'd be like, maybe I probably shouldn't be going near them people. As a councillor, you shouldn't be going near them. But the only Joe, like even if the most radical stuff you ever seen, like radical left stuff, like what to build, I don't know. I don't know what else. They want to get snails. They want to make sure live snails in every shop in Cavan. They want to make sure the live schnapps are in live snails in every shop in Cavan. Let's take for example there was a big protest, but there 50 people turned up. As a council, you would be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, some people might not want the snails. They want beef, or they want turkey, or they want this. They can't just be forced to have snails. They can't be just forced to have that. And so, but you have to engage with these people, you have to talk to them, even though you might disagree immensely with them. You still kind of have to engage with people, and that's what I'm saying as a councillor. And that's not happening at the moment particularly in that area. That's a different municipal authority than my municipal authority here. But that's the Baybrook Till municipal authority. But that's just a perfect example. Even though I don't agree with people just turning up in the middle of the night, and stuff like that. But even if somebody was pro direct provision sector when they were happening and stuff like that, I would still talk to them and be like, I understand where you're coming from. But what are you going to do with them, basically? They're going to be sitting in the hotel room all day, every day, but nothing to do, basically. what are we planning to do with? Are you going to make them do something for the community, or are you going to just let them sit in their hands? That's what I'd be like to them. But that's you have to engage with people. That's the thing. But at the end of the day, even as a council, you can have your own opinion, of course. But at the end of the day, if the people of a town said to me, say for example, I was elected in the Cavan Belturbet area here, and the people of Ballyconnor, take for example, in Cavan, were like, we want a big, I don't know, say they want a big new, I don't know, shopping centre, right? And they were planning, they want somebody to take over Tesco to build a big new shopping centre, right? In Ballyconnor, right? Take for example. And they're like, yeah, I want you to put in a word, hello, Japa, how you doing? Put in a word for the people of Ballyconnor, you could do that, but you can't be like Hugh McAfee and Monaghan just taking a few bribes, a few pound, money sterling and all that. But yeah, yeah, he's very good in the Shannon. It's good to see you, Japa. I hope you're doing well. But I'm sure you know where I'm coming from. Basically, I know I'm going on a long rant about things, but you know. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. But yeah, basically, no. But what I was saying too, see, I lose track. I'm saying something. But yeah, about the store in Ballyconnor, right? We're going to build a whole new store. I'm going to go tomorrow now with a shovel and start digging. No, I'm only joking. But you know, you have to listen to the people of your area if you're elected too. Like you can't just have your own opinion saying, "Oh, this would be terrible if you built this store here." Right, take for example. And then there's people saying, there's a few other people saying, "Oh no, this is endangered species or something like that." This I don't know. Yeah, the Cavan mole or something like that lives there or something like that. I know something like that. The Cavan mole lives where they're going to build the big new store for Tesco in Ballyconnor, take for example. You have to talk to the people at the Cavan mole and stuff like that, and they'd be like, there's a mole that actually lives here, and we can't destroy his home or something like that. I know that's so random to pull out of your head, but like there'd be things that would come up if you were a councillor, and you would have to try and deal with that, and where do you start first of all trying to deal with that, particularly because nobody can ever find level footing basically. Nobody could ever basically meet each other in the middle, because you do have to make compromises, unfortunately, as a councillor too, and you are TD and stuff. You do have to make compromises, regardless of what you do. It's always going to be compromises. Because nobody, the worst thing about society, I suppose, nowadays, nobody can agree. Basically, everybody always, there's always something, I suppose, blockading people. But compared to years, so people could find eye to eye years ago a bit better. But nowadays, it's hard to know. But it's suppose it's a different change in society and stuff. It's a different world, I suppose. That's what it's the new world order, as they say. Excuse me, sorry. Bad throat. I'm only joking with the new world order, but do you remember when they were always saying that a few years ago? They were like, it's the new world order, or what was it? It's something like that. Leo used to be saying back during COVID and stuff. It could be some crack too. That happened. Where's my glass of milk? Like even this too. Like even just having a glass of milk. Like imagine if I put a picture now in the morning. If I got elected to council with just a glass of milk, there'd be people there like, how dare you drink milk? You should be drinking fucking protein shakes. You should be going out and digging up grass, and mixing it up and putting it in your drink. There'd be people just literally like that. And then imagine if I started eating beef and stuff, they'd be like, how dare you and stuff like that. Like there'd be a few Greta Thunbergs, so basically. So you know. It's an awful long story, John. It's an awful long story. But basically, I was thinking about it. We're talking about for donkey years at this stage. Um, we're talking about one of the local Tory election years. So I considered World War Three. Hope not. Geez, imagine if I started World War Three now in the morning. Um, Joe Biden's doing a good job there. But anyway, sorry, but I interrupt myself. But yeah, so I decided not to one, I suppose. Like it's a whole lot. I basically been talking for the last hour, basically explaining in detail and stuff like that. But I consider not to one. I suppose the main thing is to, you know, you can change a person, but you can't change the soul of a person, and that's just the best way to describe it. And I suppose deep down, I know I try and be as tough as I can, but at the same time, I'm still just inside me and deep inside in my soul. I'm still somebody that's very resolved, very can, I don't know how. Yeah, the best way to put it, I do take things to heart and stuff like that, and that's not the best quality as a counsellor. There's many other things, but that's basically the one thing that I would take things to heart. And I don't know, with the political situation at the moment, you need somebody that is tough and you need somebody that is unresolved and just literally balls to the wall. Excuse my language, but and I don't think it can be that. And I have to be truthful with people. I can't just be like, I can do it and just be elected in the morning and then turn up and then be like, fuck, what do I do? You can't do that. You get what I'm saying. Like, I have to be truthful with people. I can't be dishonest with people, particularly if I was going for the election. I can't be saying to the people of Cavan, Beltorbid, Municipal Authority that I'm going to be the best things at sliced bread and then just turn up at the council office and be like James Buchanan and just do nothing. And make everything worse by just doing nothing. Like, you literally could. If you sat there and done nothing, you make everything worse. So, and I would take things to heart. And particularly too, being far right, excuse my language, but as the media would say, being far right, having far right views, you're not going to have a good time. Let's put that way. If you're elected as a councillor, the whole establishment needs to understand. One thing I was talking about there a while ago, the whole establishment, every department in the state, every NGO, every media organisation, the whole system of the state has been designed to basically have people that are like-minded like them, that basically will keep with the status quo, will not change, rapidly the state. And obviously if I come in and start being like, I disagree immensely on this fucking shit show that she's causing, they're not going to be too happy with it. And especially when you call out George Soros, you call out the World Economic Forum and stuff like that, they're not going to be very pleased with you. And that's what that way. Even if you call out the big establishments in Dublin, take for example Facebook, and why they're not paying any taxes, and why they have big data sets, why is TikTok and all, why is the Chinese embassy have a police station in now, and take for example, you ask all these questions, you're going to have a few phone calls from Dublin telling you, you have to be very quiet soon because you're upsetting a few people in Brussels and things like that. Like, you have to deal with the whole state system. This is a state-run system that will shut you up basically if you get out of line. Because there is people there in the government, within NGOs and stuff like that. They're just there to destroy people if they make a wrong move, particularly councils and stuff like that. They'll be literally haunting you if you said the wrong thing. Because you have to understand the whole Irish system is there for just the cronies. It's just there for the establishment, for the cronies basically. It's not there for new people with new ideas, who want to consult the country, want to make the county a better place and stuff for people, the people of Cavan, for the future generation of Cavan. It's there for people who just are pro this, pro that, and pro this, pro government. Just basically would do whatever the government says to do. Obviously, if I got in, I'd be questioned and I'd be saying, why should we do this? Why should we do this? And there's no benefit to the people of Cavan. We're doing this for the benefit of everybody else, but the people of Cavan. And they wouldn't want that. They wouldn't want somebody that just would question something. They just want somebody to follow something without we just following orders, as they said in the 1940s in the Nuremberg trials. We're just following orders, but orders have to be questioned when you come from somebody in authority and stuff like that. And long explanations. I went fucking on for 9 hours. See, that's the problem with me. Imagine I give a speech or something. Everybody there looking at the watch. every 50 hours or something like that. Like, it'd be torturous. I say the poor road and sound to have a fit if I was on it and just started yapping on. At least I'd be talking some sense, I suppose, in regard to some things. Like, there's people often on the local radios and stuff, yeah, and particularly councils and TDs, they don't seem to know what day of the week it is, like knowing fucking, you know, topics and different things. But so, give me 2 seconds and be back, Richard. Somebody at the door, probably trick or treaters or something. Somebody with a problem. It's the NGOs. As I say, as soon as I mentioned the NGOs turn up, would you believe, they're here to silence them. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. It's probably somebody here. So give me 2 seconds and be back with you. Apologies for that. Sorry, one of my neighbours went to the chippers. They went to the chippers, and they brought me a few stuff, so, which was very kind of them. So they're here for a cuppa. So they're here for a cup of tea. So they brought me a few chips and stuff, which was nice of them, and they got me a milkshake and stuff. So only stay a few minutes, so because they're down there, and make them a cup of tea and stuff, and get them a few biscuits and stuff. So, just a neighbour down the road here. Maybe we bonded into town and he had a few stuff. Oh, it was not snack box, just a few chips and sausages. That's about it. So it was nice. Typical Calvin people getting things for nothing. No, I give him the money for it. Don't worry, I'd be putting in his pocket before he goes in it. He might not want to take it, but I give it him anyway. So fuck him if he doesn't take it. You know, we give him. You know, we're not saying drastic here, but you know, I was so head no. I'm only joking. We won't do that. Oh, will we? I'm only joking. Don't take that out of context. But anyway, yeah, I hope everybody understands why I make a video talking about it soon. Like, it's an awful lot of stuff we talked about and had in my head the last few months about it. But I hope people understand. I know a lot of people would be disappointed. I've talked to actually a few teachers that I used to know in school, and they were kind of very hyped for me to go for the local town election, and I said to them the other day that I was considering not going. So they were a bit disheartened, I suppose, but they kind of understood, you know, where I was coming from. And at the end of the day, it's suppose the main thing is, like, you see Joe Biden, take for example, he's not fit to hold a public office. Like, even though it's only a council seat, you know, people are like, it's only a fucking county seat, a council seat. It's not the president of the United States or something like that. You know, it's the point to suppose you're elected to a public office. You have to be the best of the best in your county. And to be truly honest with you, I don't think I'm the best of the best. The electorate, the people of Cavan, the people of West Cavan particularly, could say, you know, this is the best we have to represent us as the people of West Cavan. I truly don't believe I could be the best for them, you know, and I have to be honest with you, and it's just about solving the people, you know, and to be the best you possibly can be for the people of Cavan. I truly don't think I have it in me, like in my soul, in my heart. I truly don't believe I do have it inside of me. And that's just to be truthful with you. I can't lie to people. I can't say that I'd be the best things at sliced bread and stuff like that, but it's just the truth, and I do think it's the truth, and I can't be disingenuous. and say, I can do anything, and I suppose it goes back to who I am. I'm kind of I probably will in the future. Like I say, if you give me a few years, and as I age, obviously, I know I'm old as I speak now, but um, like even take for example, if I was elected now in the morning as a councillor, I would be the youngest one probably in the last good long years, probably the last 30 years. So, and that would be a big thing. So you have to, like if I was elected in the morning, like there'd be a huge amount of pressure for you to perform, too, because you're the youngest one since, 30 years ago or something like that. Like, and I would be, because I'd be only 21 if I was elected next year. So I'd be a county mile younger than probably any of the councillors that are there at the moment, because all of them are around 40, 50, going into the 60s, a lot of them. So I'd be donkey's years, so basically the pressure would be immense. But anyway, I think I'll leave it there for tonight. I'm sorry about going on for a long time, but I probably should go down to them because they think it was being mean and just sitting up here. Especially because they went to the effort to go to the takeaway and get me a few stuff. So it was nice of them to do it. So I don't want to. I don't want them to say that I'm being hiding in the room. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way, because it'd just go down and have a chat with them for a while. Because I say the news has probably went out already, particularly around the local area. If I say it's probably already went out, what I just said, I say it's probably went out like a shockwave. So I say it's probably already been out. So I probably will get a lot of questions later on about it. Because I think a lot of people around, particularly this area, were looking forward to me, because it was a good enough chance of me being elected. There was only about 2 or 3,000 votes to get in, to meet the quota, which would have been, it might have been easy enough. Because particularly because I have to say, I don't mean to be big in the head or anything like that, but I would be well got around Cavan, Belturbet, in the Belturbet Cavan area. In that area, in this area around Cavan, Buttersbridge and Belturbet and Cavan, it would be well got in Ballyhears. Well, Ballyhears not in the electoral area, but it would be well gotten. It would have a good reputation, I suppose. So anyway, go. Thank you, watching. So leave it to it. Thank you.